Hey friends, happy Friday. I am alone in my sewing room tonight, so it's just me and Ruby doing what we do best, chatting with you, showing you what we're going to sew, and enjoying the silence, kind of. It's a little weird to be here alone after several weeks of having Mary and Ian join me on Friday nights, but tonight it's just us. And that's probably the way it's going to be for the month of August. I've got some fun announcements for you though, so let's get through the announcements, talk a little bit about what's been going on, what's coming up, and then we're going to get into the project. So the first thing that I want to share with you is that during the month of August, my Friday night live streams more than likely will be just me. But don't worry, for those of you that love it when Ian stops by and visits, I want to let you know that during the month of September, he's going to do a solid for me. You see, my work project is crazy. We're getting into crunch time, and September, October, November are going to be even worse. So to help make sure I have something ready to sew on Friday nights, he is going to join me every Friday in September, and we're going to do a little sew along. And that is the first announcement that I have for you. Lori Holt has these really cute quilt seeds patterns, and I thought it was just one series of blocks, but turns out it is a whole, there are several different series. Some of them have 6 blocks, some of them have 4, some of them have 9. And the ones that I have chosen are star blocks. There are only 4 in them. So I thought, what fun would it be for Ian and I to each put together 1 block a week? And so the way he's going to help me is I'm going to pick out my fabric and starch it for him and then hand it off to him. And he's going to cut everything and label it for me so that when Friday night comes, I can just sit down and sew. It'll be like my own personal puzzle mystery quilt. I want to show you in the overhead camera what, oh, hi, that's weird. Hi, I don't need to be in 2. Huh, let's see what's going on there. 1 second. The camera don't want to work now. Give me just 1 second. Let's get up that camera switcher and no, weird. Oh, hang tight, guys. Technical difficulties. Do I have a be right back? I don't think I do. So I'm just going to go back to the starting soon screen so you don't see me with my nose up the camera. Hold on 1 second. And we're back. Thank you for hanging tight for me for a moment. And hopefully we've got it to work. So let's see. Let's try this again. Oh, wrong way. But yes, the overhead camera is working. Okay, so as I was mentioning, these are the quilt seeds patterns that we'll be working from. They are the Americana series. There are 4 blocks altogether. This is block number 1. This is block number 2. This is block number 3. And this is block number 4. I'm not going to be using Lori Holt fabrics for these. I'm going to pick my own, but I want to let you know that these blocks measure, like they finish up pretty big size. They're not just like 10-inch blocks. They could be a mini quilt or a table topper on their own. So I'm just going to pull out the pattern. By the way, they come in these really cute little manila envelope, like manila style envelopes. And then inside you have your booklet that has your pattern. And according to this, it looks like this 1 block is going to be 24 inches by 24 inches. And if you put all 4 of them together with the sashing, the cornerstones, and the borders, the quilt will measure 78.5 by 78.5. So you can either make 4 mini quilts or a decent size throw quilt from this. So that's what we're going to be doing in the month of September. And that's why I wanted to start off by telling you that while Ian isn't joining me in August, but we're going to make up for it in September. We're going to do this sew along. I don't have a link for these patterns. That was the one thing I was going to do before I jumped in here. So what I will do is after the live stream is over, I will grab a link for these patterns using my affiliate link, and I will put it in the description box down below so you guys can pick these up and I can earn a few penny commission for showing you the product. All right, a couple of other announcements that I have for you. Last week we did the Twisted Sister project. Now I want to go back to that top cam. I keep hitting face and I want to do this one, sorry. And this is the small version of what I had done before the live stream. So I wanted to show you that I took this to the long arm and actually got it quilted. I just did a simple swirl, edge to edge, but I also, and don't mind the bad quilting on the back, but other than that, it looks good. I also was able last weekend to finish the purple one, and I'm actually going to go to just my face so you can see. I got the whole thing pieced together last weekend and put it on the long arm as well. So this is what it looks like using just the 2 fabrics. The purple, as a reminder, was an ombre, so I've got extra movement going on in there. But if I would have used 2 solids, it probably would have been a little bit more static. Let me give you a bird's eye view of the quilting. I just did a wavy line, edge to edge, pantograph on this. And there you go. I am not sure, honestly, what I think of this. Like in the camera, I can definitely see what I wanted it to be, but in person, I feel like my eyes kind of they just keep moving around and it's a little chaotic. So I've called this pinwheel pandemonium because it's a little chaotic. This one I think I'm going to keep for me, but this one I was thinking I would do a giveaway for tonight. And so a little while later, now I'm going to warn you, it's not bound. So we're going to collab on this one. Whoever wins this will have to bind it themselves and put a sleeve on it if they want it. But this is pieced and quilted by me. And I think that's going to be a giveaway for tonight. Zaza says, pretty, it's like houndstooth and plays tricks on the eyes. I agree. I agree. Okay, so those are the quilts that I had. But speaking of collab, I want to talk to you about another collab that we can do together. That's right. You, me, I don't care if you have a YouTube channel or not. Let me go back to that overhead camera and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. My pinwheels. I'm sorry, my Hexies. I can't think tonight. I have been bitten by the EPP bug and I have just been making all sorts of Hexies. I know some of these were made before last week. A few weeks ago, I did an EPP. I just did a Hexie live stream and I sat here and worked on my Hexies and all of the ones that I had started with. I gave every single one of them away, and the only ones that I kept are the ones that are made with this Hey Boo fabric because my goal is to put all of these into a small quilt. Not quite sure what the layout's going to be, but right now I'm envisioning separating these Hexie flowers with some negative space. So this is what I've got, whole pile. I am a little more than halfway done putting those together, but a friend of mine, Bill, had mentioned it would be really cool to ask my friends to put together Hexies. And so my friend Gwendolyn, actually, I put it out in, I sent messages out, text messages, Facebook messages, whatever, to just a handful of friends and asked them if they would grab 7 1-inch Hexies and just baste it and send it to me. And the whole idea is they just had to pick fabric that spoke to them. It could be fabric that they liked or fabric that they felt like reminded them of me, whatever. I just wanted something that was uniquely them. And so I got my very first Hexie in the mail this week and I sewed it together. Gwendolyn loves kind of like that whimsy looking fabric. She also loves cats, so it's fitting that all of the petals in this Hexie are cats. And then you guys know I have a deep love for all things whales and marine life, and so there is a beautiful whale right in the middle of it. And so I think this is absolutely beautiful. This is my first friend Hexie. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I was thinking I love making these Hexies and I want to make a bigger Hexie. Not a bigger Hexie, but like a bigger project made up of 1-inch Hexies. So I was thinking, what if we borrowed a page from Rose City Originals? I don't know if you guys know who Chris from Rose City Originals is. You probably do because he was on the podcast. He's a good friend of Ian's and he's got a pretty big social media following over on Instagram. If you don't know who he is, go look him up. But he does this thing called the Community Quilt and that's how I actually found him. It was a few years ago. And essentially he rolls a die and he uses this die and an AccuQuilt to direct him in making a community quilt. So people send in fabric for him and he only uses the fabric in those quilts. And when he rolls the die, it helps him figure out what the pattern's going to be, what the fabric choices are going to be. And then at the end, he puts it all together. And I believe the quilt actually goes to charity. So I was thinking, what if we did the same type of thing? I don't know exactly what it looks like, but here's what my call is for you. Please no more than 7. I would love it if you want to, if you have 1-inch Hexies laying around, baste 7 of them and send them to me, or baste 1 or 2 and send them to me. It doesn't have to be a full flower. It can just be a package, a little package of just the 1-inch basted Hexies. And I can show you what that looks like to baste because I do see a few people in the chat saying that they don't know how to do it. Katie, Greenland Quilter, said that she doesn't know how to do Hexies. I showed you guys how to do this on a live stream a couple weeks ago. So you guys can go back and watch that. But I do want to show you for basting purposes. What you're going to do is just get a piece of Hexie, a Hexie shape, 1-inch Hexie shape, and you're going to glue an edge, fold the fabric over, glue an edge, fold the fabric over, glue an edge, fold the fabric over, and you're just going to do that all the way around. You don't need to make those folds super tight. In fact, it's better if you don't, but if you have a desire to baste some, I would love it if you would drop them in the mail to me because I'd love to make a whole quilt made of Hexies sent in by you guys. So my hope is, my goal is that if you send those in, I'll be able to show you on social media what those Hexies are turning into. And we'll figure out what we're going to do with the quilt when it's all done. Glue basted is absolutely okay, Anita. Thread basting is fine too. You can see the one from Gwendolyn. She actually thread basted it. I don't know if you can see. I glue based mine, but I am happy with whatever you are comfortable with. Shells Stitchin' and More says, I'm in. How do you feel about bumblebees? I don't care what you send. It can be bumblebees. It can be cheetah print. I don't care. I just want Hexies that are basted from you guys. This is going to be a community Hexie quilt. We're not trying to steal Chris's idea. We are inspired by his community quilt and my desire to do all things EPP. I'm loving my journey with EPP because I've not really had a lot of time to sit in my sewing room in front of my machine. And by having these hand projects available, it lets me continue to be creative on the go when I'm doing something with my daughter, I'm on the train going to and from work, or just sitting in the front room with my husband watching TV. In fact, this week in the evenings, all week, my goal has been to baste a brand new EPP project. I've had this project sitting in my stash for a while and I've been intimidated by it. I got it at QuiltCon in Raleigh back in 2024 from the Violet Craft booth. It is her lion, her EPP lion. It is now, as of this evening, just before the live stream happened, fully basted and ready to get stitching. So I'm super excited about that. All right, we're going to put the Hexies away. I think those are all of the announcements that I have for you today. Let me just take a look at the chat and see if there are any questions that I can answer. Margot is saying, I have never done a Hexie, but I'm willing to try. What size? 1-inch Hexie. Katie's asking, how do you make the Hexie itself? I'm not going to show that on tonight's live stream, but I do have a 2-hour live stream a couple weeks ago that you can go back and watch. The thumbnail has Hexies right on it, so you can get into it, and I show all of the tutorial stuff right up front, so you don't have to watch the entire 2-hour thing. The tutorial is not buried in the lead. So Carl said, I think this is Laura, my grandmother had shoe boxes of Montgomery Ward shirt boxes full of Hexies. I have to find those for Laura. Oh, it actually was Carl. Okay, cool. Linda says, I thought EPP was going to get me, but it just didn't. Where do we mail to? So my mailing address is in the description box down below. It is also on the bottom of every page of my website, sewbecca.com. Just send them there for me. I would appreciate it. What is the Instagram? For Rose City Originals, it is Rose City Originals. You're using paper to make the Hexie. Do you have a template? Maybe I should have asked it like that. I do not, but I'm sure if you look on Etsy or something, there will be some sort of a template that you could print off. And actually, I know there are. They're like $2 or $3 for a whole pack of them. I don't personally have one to share, though. Shell says, do you want us to sign ours or anything? If you want to, you don't have to. I would prefer that you maybe don't sign the fabric because I don't know what's going to happen with the quilt or where it's going to go. And I don't want your information just kind of hanging out there for them. But if you want to just write your name on the back of, on the paper on the back of one of the Hexies, that's fine too. But actually, I think that would be really cool because I'm not going to be able to do them all at once. And it would be nice to be able to show you who they were from. So maybe just sign like your YouTube name so we know who you are, or your Instagram handle or something. Let's see. I could bring, Kathy says, I bring a Hexie project to me to work with me and sew during my lunch break. I've been doing that too. So I take it with me to go to work. Obviously, if I'm going into DC, I get to work on it in the train. That's an hour each way. So I can get a few Hexies done there. And then at work on my lunch break, or if things are a little slow, which is not ever lately, but during my lunch break and my downtime when I'm taking a break, I can pull it out and put a few stitches in. So that works out really well for me. Shell says, cool, thanks. I'm really excited. Only send 7? I have so many. Listen, you know what? I didn't want to come on here begging for dozens and dozens. So you send what you feel led to send. From my friends, I am asking them just to send me 7, and all 7 of those are designed to make 1 flower. But if you have a batch that you want to send, that's fine too. My goal is to put them into an organizer and just pull them out to start making Hexies and show you guys what those look like. And then we'll put them into a quilt. And this, honestly, this is probably going to be a very long project. It's going to be a slow stitch. So this is not something that I'm going to finish in a week or 2. All right, let's get to the project, shall we? I want to show you what we're working on because this is another free pattern, and I'm dropping the link to the pattern in the chat right now. It is also pinned at the top of the chat. This is a free pattern from Moda. It is called Moda Candy Spools Mini. If you make it the way it's designed, it's going to measure 33 inches by 33 inches, but I'm modifying this just slightly. I'm not changing any of the cutting instructions. Yes, please leave the paper into the Hexies. Please leave the papers in. And then don't sew them together. Just baste the 1-inch Hexies and send them. I'll sew them. So this is 33 inches by 33 inches, and I want to make it a bit smaller. And so I'm taking out the row on the right and the column on the bottom. So instead of having 6 by 6, which is what this pattern had, I'm only going to do 5 by 5. And that's because the little mini charms that I found, I only could find, there are only some that I wanted to work with. So you're going to need a mini charm pack to make the thread spools. And then you're going to need some background fabric. I have all of my fabric pre-cut. My background is going to be black. And then you're going to need some fabric for the spool tops and bottoms. And in this version, they made it a scrappy version. but mine is going to just have a gray. I want the focus to be the print on the spools. So I'm going to start working on what this looks like. But before we do, I want to show you that I've actually got one block done. It's pretty easy, and it kind of has a little bit like a, it has almost an illusion effect to it right now. And I think that's just because it's not sewn into the quilt. So we'll see what happens. I have a block made. Here you go. This block will measure 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches squared before it's sewn into the quilt. And then when I start putting in all the black fabric around it on the back, or put the black fabric around it when I'm putting it together, it should start coming together. So let me build out one block to show you how this comes together. You're going to take, let's see if we can get, are all of my cameras working properly tonight? Because, you know, sometimes they don't want to. I'm going to put my pattern up here just so I have it out of the way. Okay. So you're going to take a 2.5 inch square, and then you have 2 pieces of background fabric that each measure 1.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So 2.5 inches up and down, 1.5 inches wide. And you're going to sew these 2 rectangles onto either side of that square from your mini charm pack. Obviously, you can make this with scraps too if you'd like. I'm going to finger press this out underneath the black fabric and attach the other piece to the other size. Thank you, Mary. She's letting me know that all the cameras are working. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, you can buy a Hexie punch. LCSD says, I bought a 2-inch Hexie punch to cut my Hexie. A 2-inch punch makes a 1-inch Hexie. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out. All right, so now that I have my sides sewn on to either side, I'm just going to put this underneath my iron to get the seam nice and flat. I'm going to bring it back over here. Now we're going to make the thread spool top and bottom. So I need 2 of my spool fabrics, and these measure 1.5 inches by 4.5 inches, both of these. And then I'm going to need 4 of my background squares that measure 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And I'm going to do a stitch and flip thing. Hold. Need a ruler that's going to work for what I needed to do. Unfortunately, I don't have a marking tool that I love for drawing on the back of the black fabric. My Choco pen has run out, so I need to get a new one. But there's another way that I can do this. Since I'm doing a stitch and flip, that means I want to draw from corner to corner and stitch on the line, trim, flip over, and we'll be good to go. My marking utensils are the Soline air soluble pens. So if I write on the back of this, draw on the back of this, you're not going to see anything, but I can put it on the back of here. And here is how I can do my corner to corner, because normally what we would do is draw a line from one corner to the other on the back of the square, but I'm not going to be able to see that. So I'm going to grab my rectangle of fabric. I'm going to find a ruler that has a 45-degree line on it, and I'm going to put that 45-degree line on the edge of the fabric. I'm putting it on the short edge of the fabric. And I'm also going to look to see that the ruler is right up in that corner. And I'm just going to draw a line along the edge of the ruler. And so that should have created a line just on one side of the rectangle. And because I need them to go in towards each other, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but I want to make sure that my angle is coming in towards the middle. So on this side, I'm just going to change the 45-degree line and put it on the long edge of the fabric, make sure that the ruler is in the corner, and draw my line. Just like that. We're going to repeat that step to do it again for the other piece of fabric. Place the ruler in the corner. Put the 45-degree line on the edge of the fabric and draw a line. Turn it around and do the same thing in the opposite direction on the other edge. There, we've got both of those. Now what I can do is pick these up and bring them over to my sewing machine. I can take the 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch square and stack it up underneath just like this. But I don't have to look at the square. I can just sew on the line that's on the rectangle. I'll get the same results. I'll just be able to see my line that I drew. Debbie says, I have a Hexie punch as well. I just punch out cardstock. You can buy a package at Michael's. It doesn't have to be a good one. It works fine. Then punch 2 smack holes in the middle to remove the papers. I didn't even know that they had those punches. I want one now. I'm going to have to go search online for these because I can see lots of money being spent on paper pieces. All right, here we go. We're going to do the other side now. Line up all of our edges. Come and stitch right next to that line. Literally like a thread to the right of it. Just like this. All right, now I've got both of my thread spools sewn together. I could take this over and trim them, but I want to show you a trick that I do to make sure that my 45-degree line is true. I want to make sure that when I push this up and over that I'm completing this right angle. I want to make sure that this is the right spot. So I'm going to put my finger in between the 2 pieces of fabric and I'm just going to push my fingertip up against that seam. And then once the fabric is folded all the way over, I'll gently press this with the pad of my finger. And I'm going to look for 2 things. The first thing that I'm going to look for, I'll try and get this in nice and close, is that from this angle, from the right side of the unit, this little flap completes that square perfectly. It's not too big, it's not too small. And then I'm going to look at it from the back side and I should see the same thing. It should be exactly the same size. If it is too small from the front, that means we sewed too far to the left. You're going to have to rip that seam out and try again. But if it is too big from the front, then that means you were too far to the right. You don't have to rip that seam, but you will want to try to sew it again. Once I've done my little test method and I'm confident that my little flaps are where they need to be, then I can take this to a cutting mat. This one actually is not, so I want to fix that one. I can take this to a cutting mat. Actually, that one's great. Was it just the black playing a trick on my eye? No, it was not. So I'm going to pull the seam ripper out for this one. Once I'm sure that this is all good, I'll take it to a cutting mat and trim a 1/4 inch away. All right, we're going to try this one more time. It shifted underneath the needle for me, but I think it'll be okay. All right, let's bring this over. We're going to trim with my rotary cutter. Ah, stay. Yep, you sure can. You can use a Cricut to cut out your Hexies. That's true. Also feels like too much work. All right. Now I've got my spool cap and bottom. I'm going to bring them over to my iron, and I will just give them a little pressy press to get it nice and flat. There's one. And here is two. Now I'm going to bring in the body of my spool. Get my water cup out of the way. That'll work. And we're going to put these together, making sure that the spool cap is angling down to the spool block. So the first one is going to go on here like this. Now, if you've done everything correctly, the width of the top and the bottom should be the same width as the middle. Looks like mine might be a little bit off, but we're just going to wing it and go with it. It's a little hard to be precise when I'm doing things on live stream. So a lot of times, oftentimes when I'm sewing on a live stream, the product that I'm making does not come out perfect. Maybe it would be easier if I had a big fancy studio like Missouri Star or Fat Quarter Shop or something, and I had a team to help with the tech. But since I'm doing all of it, I'll give myself a pass. Look how far off this one is, though. Right here. Do you see how bad off that is? The other ones are okay, but this one really concerns me, so I'm going to rip that. That was off by a full 1/8 of an inch, maybe even more. We can pin this. I don't have a good tip for how to get it pinned. I struggle a little bit with finding the exact spot where those points should line up, but the trick that I like to use is marking the 1/4 inch. It's basic. It's probably more for beginners. I'm sure somebody out there is going to tell me that you don't need to do this, but it works for me, so why wouldn't I? What I'll do is come in and from the 1/4 inch edge of that fabric, I'm just going to draw a line with an air-soluble pen so I can see where my seam should be. And then, and that's on the right side of that fabric because I need to see it on the right side when I pin it. You'll see why in a minute. On this piece, on the back side, I'm going to mark a 1/4 inch from the edge. I'm going to go through both of those seams. That's going to let me line this up and grab a pin. So I'm going to poke a pin through that seam at that 1/4 inch mark. And when I look on the other side, it should come up straight through right next to that seam. And then I'm going to poke it on the line that I drew right next to the seam where I want this to line up. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. Poke it in from the back, match it up to the front on the bottom piece. And then we're going to let those pins hang straight up and down. And if there's any fullness, we'll just kind of work them in either pin or clip on either side of the pins that are aligning the edge of the fabric and keeping everything where it needs to be. I don't know if this is going to work. I feel like it's going to be a little fiddly, but we're going to try. Let's see if that did any better. it's still a bit off, but we're going to leave it. It'll be fine. I'm not going to keep ripping something out and trying again, because at some point it's going to start messing with the integrity of the block. I think my stitch and flip on that one was off. That was the one that I probably ripped on, because the other ones are great. So this is what the block looks like once it's put together. And I'm going to put it up on the design wall behind me. And I want to show you how this is going to start looking when it comes together. So I'm going to turn my little board towards you. As I start putting these into their setting, I'm going to have a seam allowance come in, so that gray spool is going to be a bit smaller, and then I'm going to have black on either side. So this is how it's going to start looking as it's built out. Let me grab one more piece of black so I can show you. Seam ripper wanted to run away. Do you see how it's starting to come together like that? Isn't that cute? I like it. I like it against the black background. I think, now that I'm looking at it in the camera, I think that that black background is going to give me the effect that I had hoped it would. So we're just going to keep doing that. I'm going to start by putting my black background piece on either side of all of my squares, because that's a relatively easy thing to do. So could you rotate those? I could, but if I rotate them, watch what happens. It's still going to look like so this is if I rotated it. To me, it looks like a spool that's laid on its side, because this fabric matches the background. Now, if I wanted the background and sashing to be different, then I could put it either way I wanted it to. All right, let's start showing. You know what? I need oil. I heard her squeak, and it's been a week since I've used her, so we're going to give her a good oiling, shall we? I've actually also learned one of the other things that she seems to like, Ruby, I'm talking about my machine that is after I've given her a good drink, she seems to like running for a minute so she can get all those drops of oil into all the different crevices where it needs to be. Feel like I'm oiling the Tin Man. Drop here, I drop there. All right, let's see how that works. I have taken the thread out of the needle to do this, because I have also learned that you should not run the machine when the needle is threaded and there's no bobbin, and we don't want to air sew and lose a bunch of our thread. So we're just going to run it dry with the needle unthreaded. In fact, I'm going to pull out of the lever too. I'm even going to take the bobbin out and give her a drop of oil in the bobbin area as well. The nice thing about this pattern is you can do whatever you want to make it yours. I see Shelly says maybe you could turn some of them to have some of them standing up, some of them standing down. Yep, you could absolutely do that. You could also make the spools scrappy if you wanted. You could stagger it, put some motion in, so maybe a half a block of just background and the odd or even columns. Absolutely. Hey Mac, she says, I need to lube up all of my machines too. Do you like her eyes? She's come to life with the googly eyes, hasn't she? Okay. I think that's good. For those of you, by the way, Max in the chat, so it's just reminded me, if you have a YouTube channel and you would like people to check out your content, in the live chat, you can just type !selfie and the bot will grab the link to your YouTube channel and then drop it so people can pop over and check out your content. Share the love. Share the love. All right, let's thread her back up and we'll get sewing. What happened to your brother you got from Sew Yeah? I didn't get a brother from Sew Yeah. Nope, didn't get a brother from Sew Yeah. That might have been somebody else. I got a Juki from Sew Yeah, and it's I still have a Juki. I just don't use it on my live streams or my recordings. I really prefer to sew on my vintage machine, but I think the Juki is a wonderful machine, and I use her frequently when I'm working on something a bit more heavy duty like a bag. Mona says, cute eyes, yes, need some magnetic eyelashes. Yep, you got it, Pamela. Yep, Juki's sitting right over there. I forgot to pull the bobbin thread up before I started. I bought, so the story of, I know some of you probably already know this, but maybe some of you don't. So I originally, when I started on my YouTube channel, I had a baby lock, and that's predominantly what I sewed on. And I wanted a faster machine that could hold up to more layers and to more bulk. And so the guys over at Sew Yeah had just started selling Jukis, and they asked if I would try one out. I had planned to buy one from them anyway, but they offered to send me one if I tried it out. So I said, sure, why not? They sent it over. They actually ended up letting me keep it. So thank you guys for that. I started stitching predominantly on the Juki as soon as I got it, and the baby lock kind of sat in the corner, didn't really get a lot of use. I love the Juki, still love the Juki, but the Juki is heavy. And so carting that to and from retreats and classes was a pain in my katukas. So I wanted to get a lighter machine, and I had always thought about like a Singer featherweight. So in Raleigh at QuiltCon last year, my friend Bill was like, you don't want a featherweight, you want a 301. And he explained that the 301, which is what I'm sewing on now, is like a bigger cousin to the Singer featherweight. They share bobbins, they share some things, but the featherweight is meant to be more portable, where the 301 has all the features that the featherweight has, but is more, it's light, you can take it around, but it's not as portable as the featherweight. Well, the 301 is less bulky and weighs a whole lot less than my Juki. After I came back from QuiltCon, I found somebody on Facebook Marketplace selling a 301 for $50. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm just going to buy it. I'm just going to buy it. And so I went and grabbed it, and then I sent it down to Bill's dad, who restores machines, and he gave it a good once over, said it was in good condition. But then I also had him custom paint her red, which is why you see me sewing on a red 1951 301. When I got her back, my intention was to take her, she was going to be my retreat machine and my classroom machine. I was going to keep the Juki here, and I was going to work on the Juki. But I had a retreat coming up, and I did not want to go to the retreat and sew on her there for the first time. So I decided that for the 3 or 4 weeks that I had leading up to my Alabama trip, I was going to sew predominantly on the 301 just so I could get familiar with the motion of sewing in the 301. And then I would take her on retreat, and when I came back, I would start sewing on the Juki again. The problem is I fell in love with her. I fell in love with the sound. I fell in love with the feel. I fell in love with all of it, like all of it. I just fell in love with the vintage machine. So the Juki gets a lot of use in my sewing room, but my predominant machine is the 301 now. I did not intend for this to happen. It just happened. You can't, listen, you can't help who your heart loves. I fell in love with her, and the rest is history. And I mean, just listen to her purr, right? Allegria says, I love your 301. Me too. Mary, I did see your comment in the chat about how the Juki is not as heavy as your Bernina. You got that right. Your Bernina is a 2-person lift. That thing's heavy. She needs a forklift for that machine. When you bond with a machine, it is gold. I love my Juki, but it's so funny. It's so funny because I started out on a computerized machine and then I went to a mechanical straight stitch only machine. And I thought I did that because I just wanted something that was so fast and go through lots of layers. But in the process of sewing on the Juki, I really fell in love with the idea of a mechanical machine that I had full control over. Everything that machine did is because of a setting or something that I did, and I was starting to get to the point where I could perform some of the service and stuff for it as well. Not certified, still probably should take it in to get it serviced, but I was getting more confident in taking her apart and doing things with her, which I think helped lay the groundwork for the 301. Hey Day, how are you? Maureen says, I have a Halani that is a monster. I bet. Sandy says, hello, everybody. I'm chatting from Hot Bay Arena, California. Hello to California. I have a featherweight. I can't get used to it, Paula says. I sew daily on my brother Dreamcatcher. The featherweight goes like crazy and literally runs away. Well, it's funny because I had intended for Ruby to be the retreat machine and the Juki to be the workhorse that I left in my cabinet, which also, by the way, the other thing that I had really liked about that is when I would come back from a class or a retreat, if I had content or to make or a live stream to do, I didn't have to get unpacked to sit down and work. My machine would be right here because the Juki would be here. Well, you guys see her, right? Black Pearl right up there? Yeah. That's my retreat machine now. The 301 doesn't leave. She's homebound. So I've gone from taking the baby lock, which was huge, to the Juki, which was smaller but probably heavier, to taking the 301 because it was lighter, to now just taking the featherweight, which could fit underneath the seat in front of me on a plane. Shell says, my entry-level brother is what I bring on my travel for work a week at a time. I've gotten good use out of it. I finished a Jelly Roll Race quilt back this morning before I went to bed. Awesome. I will be traveling at the end of September for work. So I actually don't plan to take any sewing machines, not even the featherweight. I'm just going to take some hand projects. Again, hashtag portable sewing. Midwest Book Slinger says, I love the idea of a vintage machine, but I would really miss having a knee lifter. I could see that. Mary's doesn't even need a knee lifter. The foot does it all itself. Zaza says, Black Pearl makes me think of Pirates of the Caribbean. That's why she's called the Black Pearl. I think of it too. And maybe her case is Captain Jack. I don't know. Tyler says, my recent obsession is the industrial Juki that comes in the table. I've convinced myself that I need one. I think Tiffany has one of those. I think she won it from Sewing Machines Plus in a virtual quilt fest. Huntsville, Mary. Huntsville. Carol says, you've got me hooked on EPP. Susan says, love is love after all. It is. I love my Ruby. Oh, Debbie says, I ordered Mac's Disney pattern. It's so cute. You guys will have to go check that out. She showed it off in our podcast with her, which dropped last week or the week before, but the pattern can be found on her website too. Pamela says, my mom's white sewing machine from 1966 ran with a knee pedal at first. I'm feeling the stitches on this and they feel bumpy on the bottom, which is telling me I feel like I might have a tension issue. So I'm gonna take a look at the machine, make sure everything's threaded appropriately and nothing slipped any discs. And sometimes the best way to do that is just to re-thread it from start to finish. Tell you one of the things that I don't miss, or that I do miss on a computerized machine, is being able to just load the thread in a couple of slots and pressing the button and let it do that for you. And also to tell you when you're almost out of bobbin. That's great. I miss that too. Nanny says, you're coming to Huntsville? I live just south of there. Well, I will be there for work in September. Most likely. I'll TBD, but I think that's happening. Yeah, that feels, no, still feels a bit bumpy. Hi, watch me troubleshoot my machine. Here I am talking about sewing on a vintage machine, and yeah. I'm just gonna check the bobbin really quick. So for those of you that don't know how to do this, maybe you have a top loading only, every opportunities to, there's an opportunity to teach. So when I put my bobbin into the bobbin case, I have my bobbin here and I set it up so that it makes a number 9. So you can kind of see that thread is coming off on the right hand side. And then I put it into the casing. There's a little notch right here that I'm going to put that through and then slide it over. Then I'm going to lay it in the palm of my hand and I'm going to pick it up. And I should be able to pull the thread or just hold and it'll stand up and down. That's the tension that I'm looking for. But they do have tension meters, which I bought. This will fit my Juki, my 301 and my featherweight. Haven't used it yet. I don't even know how to use it. We'll deal with it later. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. This should get it though. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. Sometimes you just need to rethread. Yep, okay, good. All right, let's get back to sewing. Hey, Donna. Pat says, I used to live just south of Huntsville in Ontario. Karen says, the problem with work trips is finding a quilt shop that is open during non-regular hours can be tough. Well, the good thing is I've already been to those quilt shops. In fact, I was just at some of them in July, so don't need to go again. but I will go get some ice cream. They have a ice cream place there called Big Spoon Creamery. Oh, I'll be getting some of that. Somebody said that I turned them onto a 301, but oh, there it is. Darla says, Becca, you turned me onto the 301. I found mine on Facebook also, and I love sewing with it, and I do all of the maintenance on it. There's just something about, it's kind of like, my dad was a mechanic. My biological dad, not my stepdad. My dad was a mechanic. He worked for Ford Motor Company, and he used to always talk about, like, especially when we started getting into the 90s and stuff, he used to always talk about the older cars and how he loved them because he could do all of the work himself. And I kind of get it because it's the same thing with the sewing machine, right? Oh no, Flicky Cheeky said, my featherweight is back in the shop on its final attempt to fix it. Oh, I'm so sorry that you're having problems with that. Rosalie says, currently working on a traditional grandmother's flower garden with 1.5-inch Hexies, watching you from I can't even pronounce that, but she's watching from Florida. Hello. Roseanne says, when you lift the presser foot, it opens the tension discs for threading. Yep, it sure does. So as I said, I just took the washing out of the machine and had a stray tissue in there. Oh no. Stitch me up with Lainey Gray says, my Singer Confidence Quilter needle doesn't want to go up and down. Oh, okay. I'm not quite sure how to fix that. Bye, Susan. She said, it's just about time to say goodbye. If I stay sitting watching, I will fall asleep. I get that way when I go to bed, too. I start to doze off as I'm watching TV. Laundry snow. Annie J. Has Mary sent out the flower Hexies yet? I don't believe so. I think they're going out this weekend. Is that right, Mary? Yeah, probably, Lainey. She says, I don't know how to fix it. I'm probably going to have to take it in. You're probably right. Hopefully have a good person that can check on that for you. Carrie Inks is watching from Cornwall, Ontario, Canada. Hello to our Canadian friends up north. Boy, it is quiet compared to last week, Rita said. I warned you it would be. I warned you. Yes, we will do a giveaway in, actually, I was going to start it at 9 o'clock, but you can go ahead and start it now, Mary. This is going to be the giveaway for the small quilt. I'll put it up behind me. I will be mailing it, so whoever wins is going to have to email me, not Mary, because it's here. We're going to give this away tonight. It is pieced and quilted by moi. Da, da, da. Bum, 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 bum. Give Mary a moment to get the giveaway up and running. And I'm actually thinking for the purple, we might actually do two. I might give them both away because I'm not sure. I want to try that. I'm not sure I'm loving the purple one. So, Mary, just make sure that when you set them up, call it the purple one and the small one, please. So we know who won. Actually, it doesn't even. No, we're not going to do that because it's going to be chaotic. If you win one, it's going to be a mystery whether you get the small one or the big one. Unless Mary wants to keep track of who gets what. I'll let her decide. She runs it all for me. Paula says, I miss Mary and Ian. I do too. Tell them to come back. Tell them to come back. All right. Put my leader in there. Are we taking Singer colors? Singer is going back to colors on their heavy duty sewing machines. Oh, awesome. Hello, Laura from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. You mean you aren't going to give the purple one to Mary? I don't, no, I'm not. But Mary can put in to win it. Have you ever used canned air to dust your machines? I was told not to because it just blows things around. I actually use a handheld vacuum cleaner to suck stuff out rather than blow stuff in. Oh, there it goes. Gotta do some pressing. Ooh, hi. How's it going? Oh boy. Okay, Mary said we're giving away the big one first. So whoever wins this one is going to get the big purple one. I'll put this up here so you guys can see what we're giving away. Mary, you're going to have to keep me honest and help me remember who won the purple one versus who won the small one. Like I said, these may not be bound when you get them, so, but I will try to put a label on it because I'm sure you'll want that. Let's turn so we can see each other while I'm doing this, shall we? There. Hi. I'm going to need a vacuum in here. I just started throwing threads on the floor. I'm just seeing giveaway go. Sorting colors for a table runner. I'm donating for an auction for the bra auction for Fabric Patch, and it's going to be so cute. Cool. Welcome, Sandy. I don't know what you're thanking me for, but you're welcome. Ooh, just noticed the purple quilt behind you. So cute. Jenny, we are raffling that off right now. If you want the purple quilt that is right there, make sure to type exclamation giveaway for a chance to get a ticket. Remember, it is 9:03 p.m. on Saturday, August 8th. I'm sorry, Friday, August 8th. My gosh. Friday, August 8th, 2025. So if you're not watching at that time, 9 o'clock Eastern on Friday, August 8th, the live stream has ended, and sadly, so has your opportunity to get a ticket for that raffle. Shell says, purple! Pumpkins Patchwork. Hi, Julie. How are you? I just saw that name and had to read it out loud, apparently. The purple ombre looks perfect in the twister quilt block. I agree. No, no, no. The big one is being given away first. Then the purple is... Wait, no. The big one is the purple one, Mary. Oh, wait. Are you talking about the one that you have? The yellow one that's the... Not this one? Waiting for her to answer. Because she has a yellow quilt that Stephanie Fulton pieced and sent to me, and I just quilted it a little bit. And we're going to put that into a giveaway. So I wonder if she's talking about that one first, and then this purple one, and then the small one. So are we giving away 3 quilts tonight? Is that what you're saying? I am so confused too. We're about to get it fixed. Either way, exclamation giveaway is going to get you a ticket. You're going to win a quilt. I don't know which one the first one is. We're waiting for Mary to tell us. M. Smith said, I would like to learn how to make that pattern. Do you have a tutorial for that? Yep, last week's live stream. All right, Mary, come on. Answer the question. Come on. Still waiting. Did she just type something in a chat, a text? Hold on. Hello, Joyce. Oh, okay. She thought the blue one was the big one. No, the purple one is bigger than the blue. So this is the one we're giving away first. The purple one. Yes, this is the one that we're giving away. Not that one, this one. Not the one with the ribbon, this one. That is the project that we made on last week's live stream. If you want to learn how to make that, I walked you through step by step how to do it. Deb says she ordered the twist template from Amazon. Awesome! Purple quilt first and the blue one second. Got it. Thank you, Mary. So I am watching the Beverly Hillbillies on TV, Becky says. What do I see? A Dresden quilt in the back of that old truck they drove. How about that? How rude that it's in the back of the truck. That should be riding shotgun. Okay. You're fine, Mary. You're fine. Yep, that's the one that I got, Deb, the CS one. That's the one that I have too. They have them in a number of different sizes, but it's the same thing. Yep, yep, yep. It looks a little creepy from this far away. The Dresden quilt should be around Granny, LOL. How many more minutes do we have left on the giveaway, Mary? Oh, that's not right. There we go. It's on her rocker where she always rides, Paula said. Oh, okay, that makes sense. It's been a long time since I've watched the Beverly Hillbillies. Oh, I forgot to press this one. Pam says, I think I got it right by the third try. How long does the air erase pen last until it fades? It depends on how much air is moving over top of the fabric. The more air movement, the faster it fades, but usually it'll be there for a few hours. If you put it inside of an airtight container, then it's going to last even longer. So if you have to mark something and walk away for it for a while, I would put it like in a storage bag or something. If you don't want the marks to disappear, oh my goodness, we're starting to yawn. So I am going to make one more block. We will do the Facebook group to see what you guys have been working on. And we'll do both of the giveaways. Coffee, yes, yes, please. Good timing, Melody. I need coffee. But yeah, we're going to probably end in about 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to finish putting this block together. Then I'm going to pop over to the Facebook group to show you guys what y'all have been working on. And while I'm showing off the projects, Mary will pick the winner from this giveaway, and we'll do a very rapid giveaway for the second one. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I'm tired. Ba-da-bum-ba-ba-bum. I know. I think I could make this block an FPP template. Actually, thinking out loud. I'm just thinking about how I could make this so that I don't have any errors, because I'm looking at the spools and they're not perfectly lining up. And I don't think it's because of my cutting. I think it's because of and I don't think it's because I'm not using a 1/4 inch. I think it's because my stitch and flips are off. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go to the top camera. Do you see how far over this is? And while it might not be noticeable as much to you on screen, in person, it is very noticeable. This one is spot on. This one's almost on, but these two are both off by a good 1/8 of an inch or so. So I think I'm going to pause here, and even though I have everything cut, I'm going to marinate on this over the weekend and see if there is a better way to put these together where the points are retained. It might mean that I tear apart a couple of the blocks, but I'm not necessarily worried about it. Okay, FPP would love, because I really fell in love with FPP. Absolutely. The shows are, oh, the old shows are corny. Quilt and Frog says, I used to watch yawns go around my classroom so fast. I knew it was time for me to get my kids up and moving around with some fun exercise. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Iron open too? Maybe. I don't know. We're going to marinate on it because I think there's some things that I can do. Maybe the spools aren't full. I actually like that. Why didn't I, like, it's not that their points aren't lined up. It's just that somebody's been using the thread. I like that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pick our winner. And while she's doing that, she's going to start Holly Logue 1. So Holly, you're going to need to email your physical mailing address. You won the purple one. The next one that we're going to give away is this one. And while that one is being chased down, we're going to go ahead and go look at Facebook. All right, I'm going to refresh. Yeah, save my login information. It's my computer. We're going to unpin Mama's birthday because it is not her birthday anymore. It is also not Shop Hop Day anymore, so we'll get rid of that. And now we're going to scroll down. I like to turn this on new post so I can see everything that's new. So, oh my goodness. Kathy says, this is my own this is own pattern making for my, I guess she's saying my own pattern. She's making it for her stepdad. That's gorgeous. Yvette says, this is a pattern from So Kind of Wonderful using the mini QCR ruler book. I still need to trim and square it up. Oh, I love it. Very pretty. Jean says she is Nanny J21 on YouTube and she's working on Christmas Not So Christmas quilt. It's a foundation paper piecing. Jen Kingwell's Point Addis quilt. She's doing 30 blocks and she has 9 to go. Helen says, I didn't get much sewing done this week, but I got this meat rip. Aw, cute puppy. Deb says, first attempt at a rag quilt. Oh, we haven't done one of those in a while. Maybe we can do one soon. Michelle is sharing this lovely quilt that she's made, all black and white. Day says she just needs this to be finished and a label added. She's made a beautiful teddy bear patchwork quilt, and she even has the name pieced at the top. Oh, that's so cute. Nice job, Day. Roberta is working on an adapted pattern from Tiffany's Quilting Life. It's her most recent pattern released, Line Dance, and she used 1-inch strips. Nice. Davina says she just thought she would share this. It's her Hexie quilt. She made it with 1-inch Hexies. The butterflies and the bees and the border are 3/4-inch Hexies. Oh, I love it. I love it. Hi, Karen. Sister Marie says it's 5 o'clock somewhere. LOL. Finished this today at 5 o'clock. Brenda is getting ready to quilt this. It's her latest quilt top. Let's refresh and see what you guys have got in the chat or in the Facebook group. Wow, congratulations, Kathy. She said this quilt won blue ribbon at the fair. Wonderful, congratulations. Glennie says she made a quilt for her great-granddaughter, and the fabric is from Lella Boutique's Love Struck line. Lily made this wristlet key thing using the tutorial that I did. Awesome. You figured it out, Lily. Love it. Katie is still squaring half square triangles. I have a feeling you'll be doing that for a while, Katie. And then we're back to the beginning with Kathy. Becky says this is her first quilt in progress for her first grandbaby. Oh, look at the Winnie the Pooh. Oh gosh, my sister's in the chat. She just wrote Tula in all caps. No, we're not giving more Tula away. Knock it off. Kathy said, this was my contest entry for the So Yeah Quilt Challenge. Love it. Karen is showing off a project that she made with some scraps. Donna shared this lovely quilt. I like the secondary pattern that you get out of the middle right there. Linda is working on a fractured charms and a disappearing 4-patch quilt. And then we're back to the blue ribbon winner. Holly is showing off where she is at so far. And then we're back to Becky's, so we'll refresh again. Ah, here we go. Melody is showing off her furry helper. Why do furry animals always have fabric to sit on? Like they want to sit on the fabric that you're working on all the time. So, all right, how many more minutes do we have in the giveaway? Also, by the way, I want to give Jonathan a quick shout out. After Alicia made me give away so much of my Tula fabric, Jonathan sent me a little package in the mail of a couple of charm packs of some Tula fabric. And so it was the tiny dots and the tiny stripes. And that's actually fabric that I had never bought, but kind of envied, wanted. Anyway, I got 2 charm packs of that and a pattern book. I think it's called the whole book is patterns that you can make with 2 charm packs. It's on my bookshelf already, so I don't have it in front of me. I'm late. Where's Ian? Ian's at home. Ian's at home, but he will be joining us in the month of September. So let me just recap some of the announcements that I had at the beginning of the live stream while we're waiting for the last quilt to be picked, the last quilt winner to be picked. Yeah, picked. Picked is the right word. Okay, so the first announcement that I had is, gotta move this out of the way. In the month of September, every Friday night, Ian is going to join me on my live stream, and we're going to be doing a sew-along with these patterns. I will link to them in the description box down below, and they will be in the comments afterwards, so you'll want to come back and get the link for this. I'll give you an affiliate link so I can earn a commission off of these. This is the Quilt Seeds pattern for the Americana quilt. They are from Lori Holt. There are 4 star blocks here. Each star block will measure 24.5 inches by 24.5 inches. And when you put it all together, the quilt will be like 78 by 78. So the second thing that we have decided to do is to collab on a little project ourselves. So as you know, I have been addicted to making Hexies. These are little things that I am hand sewing together, and I am really enjoying doing this because it allows me to be creative even when I cannot be tethered to my machine. So I have decided that I want to start putting some Hexies together using fabric that you guys are sending in to me. And so I am asking you to baste some 1-inch Hexies and send them to me. You can send me 1, you can send me 7, you can send me 70, whatever works for you. And I will sort them and I will put them into a quilt. If you want, it would be really cool if you could just write your name on the back of the Hexie on the paper, just so that when I pull it, I can give credit to the person, the Hexies that I'm using as I'm working through it. My goal is to hand sew these together, put them into a quilt, and share the progress of this on social media as I go. But keep in mind, this is going to be a slow stitch. This is not anything that I am signing up to have completed by the end of the year, the end of the decade, the end of the century. I'm just doing it at my own pace, but I want to share the journey with you, and I'd love us to collab on it. You pick the fabric, I'll put it together. So, do we have a winner for this one yet? Just curious. Bring on the Hexies. That's right. That is right. And then make sure that you are following me on Facebook, not the Facebook group, but like the Facebook page. There is a Sew Becca page. Alicia or Mary can drop the link in the live chat. It's like facebook.com/SewBeccaLLC, I think is what it is. You'll want to make sure you're following that page, and then also follow me on Instagram, because anytime I've got photos or reels of things that I'm doing behind the scenes and not just YouTube content, all of it's going out there. So if you want to keep up with what I'm doing in between live streams and videos, those are the places where you can find me. Awesome, Anne. She said she's going to send me pics of her spool project. Wonderful. Don't forget, if you are a creator here on YouTube and you'd like folks to know what your channel is, you can do !selfie in the chat, and that will drop a link over to your YouTube channel. And I am literally just filling the airwaves until we know who has won the quilt that is hanging up behind me there. Not there, there. 1 minute to go. Awesome, awesome. I'm so excited. Alicia wants to know if she won. Did you type !giveaway, Alicia? Katie is going to be live tomorrow with Ian, I think, on her channel. So you guys will want to check her out tomorrow. Oh, and there's Ian coming into the chat. Selfie! Becca, there's a social media community quilt being built. Would you like to participate? Who has the information on that? Do you want to send me the information on it? You send me an email at becca@sewbecca.com. We'll have to see. I'm not, if there's a timeline or a deadline on it, probably going to have to sit this one out. All right, let's see who our winner is. Donna Conrad, you have been entered into the giveaway. Oh, okay. It's not done yet. Okay, there it goes. Now it's closed. Linda Denton has won this quilt. Awesome, Linda. Make sure to email me your physical mailing address at becca@sewbecca.com. So both, I think it was Heidi, the lady that won the first quilt, as well as Linda, who won the second quilt. Both of you will need to send me your physical mailing addresses to becca@sewbecca.com. If you send them to Mary, that's fine too. I will get them, but we'll get those out in the mail for you this week. I am so excited for all the things that are coming up. I'm excited about our collabs, so don't forget to base those Hexies and send them to me. You can send them to my P.O. box. It is in the description of this video, as well as on the bottom of the page of my website, so you can get all the information there. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., block number 8 for our 2025 free quilt-along drops. The pattern is already live on my website, and it's not as simple as the past block or two have been, because we're ready to get back into the rhythm of doing some intricate and fun things, but it is still very much beginner friendly. If you have not already joined the 2025 quilt along, it's free to join. You grab your own fabric. I will give you patterns and a tutorial once a month for every month in 2025, and it is never too late to join. I don't care if it's 2035. The videos and the patterns are still out there for you to enjoy. Thank you, friends, so much for hanging out with me. I'm sorry that I wasn't as high energy as I am with Ian and Mary here, but I hope you enjoyed the live stream. You learned a little bit of something. You were a little entertained, and come on back next week when we put something else together, and I have no clue what it's going to be. I'll see you guys all then. Bye!